I'd like to begin by introducing our team. I am Brenda Santana, the EL coordinator for Wonderful College Prep Academy. We have with us today Brenton DeFlitch, the literacy director, and Megan Palomo, our lead literacy coach. All right. Our norms for today, if you do have any questions, we ask that you hold them until the Q&A time, which will happen at the end of our presentation. If you have any burning questions that you'd like to ask now, you can always use the chat space below. And there are two ways you can send a message on the chat space. You can send it to everyone, as you see here on the right-hand side of your screen, excuse me. Or you can specify the question to either myself, Mr. DeFlitch, or Ms. Palomo. We do ask that that we remain not share any personal information. So an example of something we wouldn't want to hear is, my son Jesus Condorva is a 4th grader at Delano. He struggles with math. What can we do to help with math? Instead, we can let's try to keep our questions a little more general and vague, such as, how can we help our son with elementary math? Today's presentation is based on how to support our children at home. It'll be split into 2 sections. The first half of the presentation will be supporting people. We're going to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, joy and peace during remote learning. And then the second half of our presentation will be about academic supports. We're going to talk about ELD, what that looks like at home, and ways to keep in touch. Our objectives for today include exploring tools to improve emotional and behavioral response during remote learning. And we want to build parental supports for support skills for EL learners. And we are also going to review designated work for the month of May. Our mindset when we began this work is to pretty much put an emphasis on the home language. It is an asset. We want to remove barriers to achievement for all EL learners. And we also want you to know that you are not alone. I'm Mr. DeFlitch and Ms. Palomo. We are all parents as well. And we all have children at home that we also support at home. And so we share those struggles that some of you may be feeling during our remote learning. Let's begin with our joy and peace during remote learning segment. This segment will entail social and emotional learning. We're going to discuss supporting emotional development of our children. We're going to talk about human needs, managing stress, and ways to find joy. So Maslow is a psychologist who studied positive human qualities in the life of exemplary people. And he basically said that we need our children to reach self-actualization. When a person is motivated to reach his or her full potential. As you can see, before somebody reaches self-actualization, certain things need to be met beforehand, which include physiological needs. That's food, water, sleep, breathing, safety. When children feel a sense of security, if you add a layer of love and belonging, and the child feels that they have friends, love among their family members. And then the next layer before reaching self-actualization is self-esteem, confidence, achievement, and respect from others and by others. Again, a person's basic needs must be met before self-actualization can be achieved. This is where we want all of our children to be, especially during remote learning. Now, we understand that remote learning may bring on some stress. And if you look at the list to the right side of the screen, here are some examples or signs of stress. Stress is what happens when our situation or demands are greater than the ability to cope. So when we're feeling overwhelmed, tense, or under pressure. So when we're unable to concentrate, our appetite changes, we're struggling to make decisions, we're struggling to connect, we're struggling to switch between tasks. and feeling overtired. What to look out for as a parent. We have a list here on the left-hand side of the screen. Again, difficulty concentrating, when a child is showing fears, refusing to do schoolwork, hoarding significant items. It could also include decrease or increase in appetite, headaches, stomach aches, bedwetting, problems with sleep, nightmares, and other symptoms. Again, if your child is experiencing one or two of these things, they may not be under stress. It may just be something common, but we do want to offer ways to help your children and yourself manage stress if you find yourself feeling stressful during these times. This next segment will be describing 7 tips that you can try today to help manage stress. And the first way to manage stress that we're going to be talking about today is belly breathing. This is a great tip. This is something that you can do at any point of the day, something that I like to do to help lower my anxiety and manage my stress. If you'd like, you can join me in this exercise. How we do belly breathing is you put your hand on your stomach so that you can feel the stomach filling with air. Next, you will inhale with your nose. That's when you feel your belly. You should feel your belly fill with air and hold it for a few seconds before exhaling through your mouth. And you can repeat this several times. It's a great exercise to try with your children or at any time of the day. All right. Another great tip for managing stress is yoga. This is a great incentive. After my daughter does all of her classwork, she looks forward to doing Cosmic Kid Yoga. It's one of our favorite channels. Here you see a picture on the left of Mrs. Palomo's children enjoying Cosmic Yoga. They offer this in Spanish YouTube videos as well, and it's a great way to unwind. It's a great incentive as a parent for my child. And one of our favorite reasons why we like this is because it's the yoga. They feature some of our favorite characters. She does a Frozen segment. You can see the example here where she's dressed up as a Poppy from the movie Trolls. So it's a really fun time with the kids. All right. Another way to manage stress or to find joy is to simply smile. Smiling can trick your brain by elevating your mood. It can lower your heart rate and reduce your stress, and it doesn't have to be a true emotion. If you look at the quote to the right-hand side of the screen, a smile doesn't have to be based on a real emotion because faking it works as well. If you look at the bottom of the screen, research shows that about 50% that you develop 50% more antibodies in the average response to flu vaccines when smiling. All right, another great way to manage stress is walking. If you look at the two brains on the right-hand side of the screen, notice the difference in color. We have one brain towards the left. Once they've been sitting for 20 minutes, notice that there's very minimal color change there. And then if you compare that to the brain to the furthest to the right, notice a change in color here. We have a significant difference in brain function after walking for 20 minutes. Now, some tips to keep in mind when walking, you can take a look at on the left-hand side of your screen. 15 minutes of walking can increase happiness. You can do this with or without people, sunshine, or positive music. It's important to keep your phones in your bags or your pocket and to be mindful. Think internally to yourself about what you are seeing and feeling. And you can even try a joyful posture when you're walking as well. All right. And if you joined us at the beginning of the segment, you heard a little bit of some music that was playing. Research shows that the best music for relaxation has a slow tempo, simple melody with no lyrics. And I'll show you, I'll demonstrate a piece of that for you as well in a little bit. Let's see if you can hear that. So research shows that after 13 minutes of listening to this style of music, people felt relaxed. 79% had reduced tension, muscle tension. 84% have less negative thoughts. 82% of people who listen to this style of music had better night's sleep. And 82% also felt peaceful and content. And after 9 minutes of listening to this type of music, research showed that people felt happy overall. 89% had improved energy levels, 65% laughed more and felt happier. So this is a great example. This is a channel that I like to listen to, and it's free on YouTube. All right, let's move on here. Another way to unwind, to manage stress is having a little bit of time for art. Another thing that I like to do, say after academic time with my daughter, is I like to give her some time to color. It increases focus and reduces anger. It reduces anxiety through mindfulness, routine physical coordination. Color impacts the brain and emotions, and it creates a calming effect and produces joy. Now, you can do this with or without crayons and physical paper. If you have coloring paper at home or ways to print paper, that's great. But you can also enjoy coloring, the effects of coloring or the effects of art by enjoying a free digital coloring page directly on your child's Chromebook. If you click on the link at the bottom, this hellokids.com page offers a lot of coloring pages that you can do digitally and color from the comfort of the screen as well. All right, and one of our last tips to manage stress is reflection. Give yourself 3 reasons to smile. This is something that I enjoy doing at the end of my day. Reflection and purposeful focus on the positive of our daily life can help increase happiness in the day-to-day. So typically what I like to do is I like to set aside a few minutes at the end of the day, usually before going to sleep, and brainstorm what are 3 things, big or small, that give you a reason to smile. You can write these down and make your own list. Make sure that you actually write them down. And the reason being that whenever you feel down or like you need to pick me up, I like to revisit this list and remind myself, oh yes, these are 3 reasons to smile, 3 reasons to be happy. And again, we have health services. We're here for you to support not only your child, but parents as well. When you're feeling overwhelmed with your situation, don't be afraid to feel frustrated, to feel angry or sad. We're here for you and we're here to help you. Please reach out. Never be afraid to ask for help. Your teachers, principals, counselors, and specialists, stress counselors are here to help you. You can call us at the number on the screen, 661-720-2660. There's no need to feel embarrassment to make this call. We are all here in this together, as I mentioned. All right. Now let's begin our academic support segment. And let's discuss designated ELD. Some of you have seen this recently, and let's discuss the differences between designated and integrated ELD. I like to use this. You take a look at the 2 circles on the right side of your screen. You can see how the 2 work together. Yes, they are not the same thing, but we can see that integrated ELD, or the large green circle, shows us how it happens throughout the day in all content areas. It happens in math, science, social studies, electives. And these are instructions that the state, which are state adopted, that they provided us with ELD standards to use in tandem with the state adopted academic standards. We have designated ELD, which is a course that they take, and that's the gray circle there. We're going to talk into about more detail about what that looks like now that we are in distance learning. Again, integrated ELD, these are supports that happen across all areas: ELA, math, science, history, and art. And I'm going to talk about supports that you can look out for in your students' assignments. what they are, and how you can help your child at home when they see these supports. And the supports are word banks, activating prior knowledge, cultural specific knowledge, audio and visual aids, sentence frames, and graphic organizers. Let's talk a little bit more in depth with the word banks. So the word banks, if you look on the right side of your screen, it's that box with the list of words inside. Here are some things that you can say as a parent if you see this on your child's assignments. You can say things like, these words can help us answer the question, point to the box. You can also ask your child, oh, which word or words best match the correct answer? If your child is feeling overwhelmed by the amount of words, you yourself can also eliminate the amount of choices. You can say, let's eliminate the wrong answers. That way we can narrow down to which one, that way we have a smaller selection and less to feel overwhelmed by. And at any point, if your child doesn't have a word bank, you can always create one on the fly. You can draw a box and generate your own list as well for your child. All right, so our next integrated support that we're going to talk about is providing background and content. When you see something unfamiliar to you, assume that it's also unfamiliar to them. We're going to take this math question, for example. So in the question, it asks, Jacob bought a piece of gum for 26 cents and a newspaper for 61 cents. He gave the cashier $1. How much money does he get back? Now, before we worry about the math portion, it is important to keep in mind our own child's experience. Has our child ever had to go to the store and purchase a piece of gum? Do they understand what a newspaper is or what a cashier is? So those are things that you can ask your child before they get into the math portion. You can ask them, do you know what gum or newspapers are? Do you know what a cashier is? You can provide similar words in your own language. And you can also Google a picture of each of these things. If the words are what getting in the way of the math problem, then you can simply Google that example, newspaper, cashier, and it'll pop up, oh, that's right. When I go to the store, I usually hand the money to the person behind the cash register, and that's a cashier. Simple things like that is providing your child the background and the content in order to put themselves in the position of the problem that they're supposed to be solving. Our next integrated support are audio and visual aids. Let's take this video, for example. It's about snow. It's important to keep in mind, does my child know what snow is? You can ask them that. Hey, sweetie, can you tell me about snow? And remember, Delano hasn't had snow in over 20 years. So think about how that would change the way they would understand the topic or the question. A simple video on snow can just mean a world of difference. Putting them in that context. Oh, that's right. Those are those things that are on the screen here. And aside from playing the video, we have a tip here. You can actually auto-translate in many language any YouTube video. So if you don't mind, I'd like to show you how to do that. Just give me a minute. And then I'll do a new share. All right, so let's take a look at, so here's the snowflake video. I'm gonna mute it just to spare your ears. But what we want to look at is the CCs here at the bottom of the screen. If you select that, it'll automatically spit out an automated version of what's being said. But let's say you are more comfortable in a different language. If you select this gear here, which is the settings, you can scroll down to subtitles, hit the subtitles, and then here you can go down to the very bottom where it says auto translate. And from here, you can make a selection of all the languages that YouTube offers. And perhaps your child might be more comfortable following along with, or you or your child might be more comfortable following along with the auto translate in the language that you're most comfortable with. All right. Okay, moving on. The next integrated support that you can use at home that you can look out for at home and help your child with are sentence frames. Sometimes when students get stuck in how to phrase their thoughts or ideas and answers, providing a sentence frame is a great way to help students organize and present what is actually in their mind. It is very often that a child responds with, the answer is snowflake, or just simply snowflake. But you as a parent, you can also push them to say, let's use a complete sentence. Here's a sentence frame, or take a look at the parent examples to the left hand of your screen. This sentence frame can help us answer the question. You can point to the example, or you can also say, let's finish the sentence here. One tip that I recommend with parents is asking the child to say the sentence out loud. Maybe give them an oral rehearsal, a practice run with making that sentence sound right to them before writing it down. All right, now we're going to get into designated ELD. During distance learning, we came up with 3 versions of designated ELD based on your child's grade level. So TK through 2nd got choice boards, a paper version of designated ELD, and we went digital for grades 3 through 12. If your child is in grades 3 through 8, they received a new Google Classroom that is solely based on designated ELD. And if your child attends high school, their current ELA classroom takes care of their designated ELD needs. And just to remind you, designated ELD is that course, that class that us as a school are required to offer your child. And so here are the examples that we mentioned earlier. Here are to the left-hand side, we have the TK through 2nd examples. They have a choice board. And the goal for this was that they had less, we didn't want to put on more work for them, and we wanted it to make sense. We wanted it to be more accessible. We wanted it to be something small that they could do every day. And it did not have to be it didn't necessarily have to be a choice that is written. We gave choices such as family walks, video activities. We try to make something we try to make something that was easy for all families to incorporate into their day without adding more stress or more work onto their day. Grades 3rd through 8th grade, like I mentioned, got a new separate Google Classroom that they joined on, and we're going to talk a little more detail about that. Oh yes, those choice words that I mentioned earlier, here is how we wanted to work with submitting. We wanted to work with parents on how to submit that work. We understand that the elementary team had a great practice of submitting work on Class Dojo, and we wanted it to make sense for families and something that they were already used to. So here is a description of how to submit work. You can do that either every day or at the end of the year by simply taking a picture and submitting it. And there are videos that we have up on our Class Dojo accounts on how to do this, both in English and in Spanish. All right, now referring back to our 3rd through 8th grade friends, they again were added to a new Google Classroom. We have one weekly assignment that is due every Friday. We do Zoom sessions every Tuesday and Thursday, a live Zoom session, which is what we are hoping that they use and attend. That is our goal, that they are practicing the language, that they have an opportunity to ask and interact with each other. And if at any point they cannot join for whatever reason, we also include pre-recorded lessons that can be found both on Google Classroom and Classroom Dojo. What you can do as a parent is to have daily conversations. If this can be something that you do once a day, multiple times a day. Again, the more they practice the language, the better. And we are not sticklers on what language they are practicing. As long as they are speaking and interacting, those are both really great for their language development. All right, our main communication for grades TK through 8th is Class Dojo. On there you can find day-to-day updates, learning videos. This is where we turn in assignments for our TK through 2nd friends, as I mentioned. I have plenty more resources for people, and this is a great place to ask questions. You can also call the number. The number is listed on our daily posts. And speaking of our phone number, you can reach out to me using my email. It's my first.last name at wonderfulcollegeprep.org. This phone number that is on the screen, 270-6851, is my direct number. It goes directly to my cell phone. You can also message me on Class Dojo. That guarantees that I can see your direct question. As I mentioned, you can also find our ELD videos, not only on Class Dojo, but also on our school website and on Google Classroom. All right, we are getting ready to start our Q&A portion of the presentation. We just ask that you please not include any personal or student information. Again, our don't ask example is, my son Jesus Condorva is a 4th grader at Delano and struggles with math. What could we do to help? Instead of asking with all those details, maybe we can ask a more general question, such as, how can we help our son with elementary math? Oh, and it seems like I'm still sharing my music. There we go. All right, so here we are. We are getting ready. We are ready to start our Q&A time. If you would like some suggestions on things you can ask, we have a list here on the right-hand side. What are some of the biggest struggles that you are facing during distance learning? You can ask anything such as coping with how your students are coping with lifestyle change, or any additional supports that we could provide to you would be great to ask as well. The floor is yours, parents. If you would like to ask, you can raise your hand, and that way we have a chance for everyone to speak as well.